Alright, I've got a little spooky attire going on. This is my first year dressing up for a video. I wanted to recreate Tom Skelton. You guys can let me know how I did. I actually got this mask from Goodwill. It was like $1, and all I did was just paint over it because it was metallic. Fair Halloween, overpriced, but I dig this costume so much, so there's that. Really, I've always dressed up as a skeleton, either a skeleton or a ghost face growing up, and since Tom Skelton, we share the same name, I was like, why not? You know, I'll go take it a step further and dress up as one of the characters. Alright, so today's film that we are discussing is The Halloween Tree, which came out in 1993. It premiered on ABC. It's produced by Hanna-Barbera, and there's a novel of the same name, which came out in 1972 by Ray Bradbury, and the film is narrated by Bradbury himself. Before I dive right in, I do want to say that the sole purpose of discussing today's film is that I've asked countless friends, have you seen this film? And they all said, no, I've never even heard of it. So we have to talk about it because an underrated gem. So the film is about four friends who gather on Halloween night excited to trick-or-treat with their pal Joe Pipkin, but their night turns to worry as they discover their friend being transported via an ambulance. In pursuit, they see a ghostly figure that appears to be Pip, leading to the introduction of a peculiar character, the guardian of the titular Halloween tree, that will guide them to their friend, the history and true meaning of Halloween. Revisiting this film for the second time in a row today, you heard that correctly, pure amazement. There are those films and TV shows from your childhood that you may stumble across. I think of I Saw the TV Glow, in which you may have a different interpretation when you look at it through a different lens, through a more mature lens. I say this and I bring this up because I tried rewatching the show The Secret Life of Alex Mack. You guys remember that, I'm sure. And I just couldn't get into it, quite frankly. But this film, maybe that's an unfair comparison, this one is just timeless. It has just a timeless quality to it. Every time that I rediscover this film, it's that nugget from the 90s that deserves all the praise. So, in a Midwest town, friends Tom, Jenny, Ralph, and Wally come face to face with Carapace, Clavicle, Monshroud, and his Halloween tree filled with jack-o'-lanterns, all lit up, unique in their appearance, including one that looks like Pip. And it's supposed to be a representation of our own mortality, Mr. Monshroud being akin to the angel of death, Grim Reaper. When Pip defiantly takes the pumpkin, Monshroud exclaims, "Inexcusable behavior," and "We're late for our appointment." The latter coming up quite a bit with Monshroud stating that the rent was late and he's there to collect payment, meaning Pipkin's life is fading. He was taken to the hospital for an appendectomy. So truly at the heart of this tale, death is central. What we do see is Pip's ghost going to the tree, the Halloween tree, which has all these different pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns, just like I stated, all lit up, all with a different sort of grimace, contorted look, all unique in their appearance, and he's going after his pumpkin, which is his fiery soul, as it's stated. But then you have these added layers tossed in with each character overcoming some obstacle that is related to the costumes they have donned. The mummy, witch, monster, and skeleton. And despite their fears, they push through, displaying courage and love for their friend Pip when he's in a perilous state. They recount all the wonderful things Pip has done. In saying that, one of my favorite lines, because there are so many, with Bradbury's descriptive, figurative language, has to be when Pip is introduced at the beginning. Ah yes, Joe Pipkin. Some say that on the day he was born, all the soda pop bottles in the world fizzed over. Pipkin, who could yell louder, sing better, and eat more popcorn. Pip, the greatest boy who ever lived. Interestingly enough, the novel did start as a screenplay, with Bradbury having discussions with Chuck Jones. Unfortunately, at the time, Bradbury was unable to secure a deal due to the medium's cost, and it wasn't until later on when he met with executive producer of Hanna-Barbera, David Kirshner, that they were able to secure a deal to bring this animated film to life. Going back to the film, after Pip evades and the four friends accompany Monshroud on this quest, going back 4,000 years, I have to think about the method of transportation, which is taking flight, whether it's by a kite made of circus animal posters, Monshroud's cape, brooms, or gargoyles. It's all significant. The children go back in time to ancient Egypt and experience the way in which families invite their mummified relatives for dinner, as well as the mummification process. Then they make their way back to the Dark Ages, witnessing Stonehenge, Gaelic rituals, broom festivals, to even a gathering of witches, which are then confronted by an angry mob and their torches. Their night continues in France, a ruin towering over them. They soon quite literally rebuild Notre Dame. At this point, Monshroud takes several steps back, unable to enter the cathedral, as he's not welcome in certain places. And then finally we end up in the last location, which is specific to Tom, and that is in Mexico, Dia de los Muertos, and we get to learn about how death is celebrated. Some of the information and practices are glossed over, but that's kind of a given considering it's a kids programming, so they're not going to show a full-blown witch hunt or witches being torched to death. With that said, this made-for-TV film does an excellent job keeping it balanced, keeping it educational yet entertaining, including a titular character or the embodiment of Halloween that is rather unique, with the name like Carapace Clavicle Montroud, who's voiced by Leonard Nimoy. Casting Leonard Nimoy, RIP, to voice Carapace Clavicle Montroud was an excellent choice because he adds such an eccentricity to an already eccentric character just by his outwardly appearance. He's got the pointed nose, the gored head, the sunken eyes, the wrinkly skin, and the lanky body. He is one of the more unique characters that I've seen. And my viewpoint of this character is not governed by ideas of right or wrong, good or bad. He is quite a trickster at the end. I look at him more as an enforcer, similar to Sam from Trick or Treat or the Grim Reaper, just an enforcer of the rules. In short, The Long Trek is showing us our connectedness to the holiday through various cultures and time periods. Moving on towards the ending of this film, a big part of what makes this story the most impactful, like really sticks the landing, is that it doesn't shy away from its darker subject matter. I mean to say that once they're at the end of their quest, Montroud goes to collect his payment, and in an act of selflessness, Tom and the rest of the gang follow suit to take a year off the end of their lives in order to save Pipkin. I'm not going to get emotional again, but towards the conclusion of this film, it does have this sort of duality going on where it's a whimsical and fun adventure while also being very grim. So the children proceed with the deal and eat a piece of candy with Pipkin's name on it, and they are whisked away back to their Midwest town. They go to check on their friend and they see that Pip is alive, albeit tired after his surgery, and they do also see that there's the jack-o'-lantern, the same jack-o'-lantern on his front porch, still glowing, lit up. Pip even admits that he was almost a goner and can only recall these dreams of being in these different locations, his disembodied soul. Then he goes ahead and thanks them for everything that they've done. It's such an emotional moment in the film as the children cry and they're just elated that their friend is alive and well. But man, the animation, the music by John Debney, it's just perfect. I have to come back to this movie every year. I actually did have it on VHS as a kid. My parents, probably, when I think about it, one of the best gifts I ever received. Thank you. Don't have it anymore because they got rid of all their VHS tape. I don't have it on DVD, but at some point I will. It will be on this wall. Let me know if you've watched The Halloween Tree though, and if it's the perfect movie for the spooky season. I personally think it's the best. It's the one movie that I did want to talk about in regards to something a little bit more lighthearted, because I kind of wanted to depart from the more extreme side of horror that I talked about last week and do something really fun, something for the whole family if you have kids. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be back soon. Bye. Actually, before I go, I wanted to say, anybody who is subscribed to my channel that lives in Florida, please be careful. Please be safe with Hurricane Milton on the way, because the area where Blair and I live, we're getting directly hit. So wish us luck. We're not evacuating. We're just staying at home. If you have to go to a shelter, if you just have to leave the state, whatever you're choosing to do, go somewhere far where it's not being hit. Whatever you have to do, please be careful. All right. Bye, guys.